Today I'm going to talk about how to simplify the radical numbers with the variables or unknowns. For example, if I give you square root of 300 times x squared, how to simplify these radical numbers? So the rule should be following this formula. Okay, following this formula. Square root of a square should be absolute value of a. Okay, so this is the rule. Now let's take a look this guy. For these problems, we can write down 300. We can write down as 3 times 100, right? We wanted to factor 300. We can usually write down 3 times 100, and here's x squared. And now for the 100, we can write down as what? We can write down as 10 squared, right? 10 squared. It's very straightforward. And here is x squared. Things here we have 10 squared and x squared inside the radical or inside the root. We're gonna follow this formula, and we can write down as, for the first term 10 squared, we can write down absolute value of 10, right? For the a is 10. For the second term, we have x squared, very similar. We can write down as absolute of x, and the left term gonna be a square root of 3, right? Square root of 3. So we can simplify it. Absolute value of 10 should be non-negative because 10 is positive, so we can directly write down as 10. Because x is unknown, we don't know that is positive or negative, so we're going to write down as absolute value. We'll keep absolute value sign here, and the answer should be 10 absolute value x square root of 3. Okay. Now let's take a look. The second example, 50 x squared y. How to simplify this guy? We're gonna follow the same strategy. First of all, we try to factor 50. Usually we can say, hey, 2 times 25, right? 2 times 25. And here is x squared. And again, we can see, we can find the square. 25 is what? It's 5 squared. Okay, now we can find the two terms. One is 5 squared. Another one is x squared. We just move out these two terms. So for the 5, we can use the formula here. Square root of 5 squared should be absolute value 5, and x squared gonna be absolute value x, and the left two terms gonna be 2y. Okay, now since 5 is positive, so we don't need absolute sign. Okay, and x is unknown. We're not too sure that is negative or positive, so we keep the absolute value. If x is a negative, for example negative 3, we should pick 3, right? Not negative 3. So we keep the absolute value x here. Okay, the answer should be 5 times absolute value x square root of 2y. Now let's take a look the last example. 6x squared y squared. How to simplify this guy? Very similar strategy. The first thing we're gonna check the constant 6, because constant 6 can be written down as 2 times 3. Right? 6 can be written down 2 times 3. But you can see we can write down as a square format, like we mentioned before, a squared. So it's not necessary to factor 6, right? If we factor 6 as 2 times 3, we can write down as 2 squared or 3 squared. So it's not necessary to write down this to factor 6. However, for the x squared, we have 2 terms, right? 2 terms. One is x squared. Another term is y squared, right? So follow the formula. X squared gonna be a absolute value x. Y squared gonna be a absolute value y, and the left term will be a square root of 6. Okay, square root of 6. And these two terms can multiply together. X times y gonna be a xy square root of 6. That's the answer. Okay, so the key part should be the formula. When you move out these two terms, you need to follow this formula. Square root of a squared equals absolute value of a. Okay.